Well, well, well.
Well, let's start the interview then.
How you doing, Simon? Gärdenfors, how you doing?
I'm fine. How are you doing, Hanselmann? Do
Oh,
you
I'm surviving.
surviving?
I'm
You're
alive.
not been sick?
I think I did get the coronavirus, but I just fought through it.
Okay. For how many weeks? Or
Yeah, it was in February. Apparently, it was ripping through the US, and I don't know. I
okay.
was sick. I was delirious. I was like, "Oh, I've got the flu," and
Yeah.
then coronavirus. So I think I had it. I don't know.
No. But have you been outside for a while? Outside
Well,
the door?
no, I mean I go to the supermarket, but in America we're all, in Seattle we were the first big breakout point in the US. So
Okay.
yeah, the last 60 days I've not really left the house, which is just not that weird for me. I'm a cartoonist. I work from home.
Yeah.
I'm used to
A
not
lot, a
leaving.
lot of people say that. That's almost been a cliche now. Like
Yes,
now the whole world is living like I was been living or something like that.
yeah. The first few days of it, all the cartoonists were like, "Oh, I've been doing this for years." And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
all right. Someone already, Chris Ware already made that joke or whatever.
It did? Chris
I don't
Ware?
know who made it first. No, no, he was pretty late to the game. I was doing my COVID comics before Chris Ware. He's always late to the party.
Is he doing COVID comics now too?
He did something for the New Yorker or something. Or
Okay,
he did
yeah.
like a one-page thing, not like 60 pages like I have. He's very lazy.
Yeah, you do them on Instagram. That's a faster medium too.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm testing it out. I don't like web comics really. I like paper. I like zines,
Yeah.
fanzines. But yeah, I'm doing a fucking web comic.
I think we're almost the same age. I think I'm 3 years older than you. I'm born in '78.
Yeah, I'm
I
81.
prefer paper too. I don't know if younger people are like cool with web comics or they don't care or anything. But
I think they're used to them. I think a lot of younger people grew up on manga and web comics, and they're fine
yeah,
with it. And digital music. I mean, it's the same as like digital music is.
yeah. Do you
Comics are
listen
the
to
same
music
way.
digitally, or are you still a vinyl guy?
I do buy vinyl, but I mean, fuck, I put it on my iPhone.
Yeah,
I got an iPod 10 years ago, and at the time, like, whoa, I had a Discman for many years. The old Discman.
yeah.
You know, I remember cassettes and rotary telephones.
Yeah.
Time
So
marches on, makes fools of us all.
did you start the web comic, the COVID Instagram comic, like when the breakout was, or did you wait for a bit?
I think it was March 13th.
Okay,
Um,
that's pretty early.
yeah, I mean, I was supposed to go to Fumetto, a comics festival in Switzerland,
Yeah,
and that was at the end of March. And I actually cancelled that in late February. I sort of like was really onto this COVID stuff early, and
yeah,
and thought like this is not going to happen. These festivals are all going to get shut down. So fuck it, I'm cancelling. And then yeah, so I pretty much decided I should do this COVID comic. Why the fuck not? And
yeah.
I,
And
I
you,
thought,
you like put all other projects on pause.
yeah, I mean, the COVID comic was supposed to go for about a month, and I
Okay.
thought, oh, it'll all blow over, and I can stop doing
Yeah,
the comic. But
yeah.
it's all kept going and is not ending. So the comic, it's just kept on going, and I've got more ideas for the comic. So
For the COVID.
writing about other stuff seems weird right now. Trying to write a
Yeah.
book about my mother and my past and like the '90s, like who gives a shit? Like, fuck off.
You can always continue at some point, like with Meg's Coven is the book you're working on now, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, but currently I'm doing Meg's COVID. Boom. Yeah.
Yeah, but what about the timeline and the COVID comic? Like, I saw some comment on Instagram, and I thought about it myself too. That didn't Werewolf Jones die in 2017?
He did in the non-COVID universe.
Oh, so this is like a what if universe
Yeah,
or something.
it's like the old Marvel comics. What if,
Yeah.
what if Werewolf Jones didn't die and they were all
Okay.
together and COVID hit? You know, I
But you
just I
never
got
announced that this is another universe. It's just
it's just a parallel universe. I couldn't resist throwing these comedy characters together and seeing
no,
how they would react. It's like
no.
everyone's doing it, like the Parks and Recreation thing tonight. There was a Bob Odenkirk and David Cross, the Mr. Show. Everyone's doing these Zooms, and
Yeah,
so of course I'm gonna, and I'm not a TV studio. Like I'm just one person, so I can just churn this shit out.
yeah.
I'm not beholden to schedules and camera people. So
But you're coloring it in a little bit different way.
just colored pencils. I got a Whoopi Goldberg cup here full of cheap pencils from the supermarket. I'm just using those. It's immediate,
Yeah.
I stole the paper from the Fantagraphics office. I'm just using cheap shit and just getting it done.
Okay. So is it faster to do it with pencils than to paint it on?
Of course. I mean, yeah, yeah. The painting takes forever. It's a fucking nightmare. So yeah, I've really been enjoying the immediacy of doing a daily thing.
Yeah.
I get up every morning, I write it, I draw it, I blah blah blah, color it with the pencils. Yeah, it's been actually really enjoyable.
You color it on the original drawing, or do you take?
Yeah. I just got a big stack of them here. It's
Oh,
it's just a big stack of paper.
so this is the COVID comics.
Yeah, I think
But
I'm about 56 days in.
are you planning on publishing them on paper later on?
I am. I was going to do a zine, just like a 30-page zine, but it's
Yeah.
kept on going. So now it's booked in with Fantagraphics. I mean, fuck it. Everyone keeps on asking on the Instagram, "Are you going to do a book?" So I love money. I like to get paid for my work. Of course, I'm
Yeah.
going to do a fucking book.
How much money do you make nowadays? You're quite like you're successful, and your comic publishes in a lot of countries and stuff. How much of a luxury life do you live?
Well, not super luxurious, but I make a living. I think about 6 years of just my day job is drawing these comics.
Okay.
I used to work at McDonald's. I used to scrub bird shit.
In the US too?
In the UK, I used to live in London and used to scrub bird shit. They're British birds. I've been making a living from comics for 6 years now. I work very hard. That's the secret. That's all these young cartoonists say. How can I make it? It's like, just keep making work. Just keep shitting it out. Even if it's not very good, just keep shitting it out.
Yeah, I think that's a good tip. But you seem to work extremely hard.
Yeah.
How many hours was it now again for the latest book, the Bad Gateway book? It was I wrote it down, like 3,764 hours.
Yeah, that sounds correct. I memorized that during my press junkets last year, but I've forgotten now. I'm so lost in the COVID. Yeah, no, something like that. Yeah, it was almost 4,000.
Do you have to work that hard, like to make a living, or is it something else? Like, is it to keep the anxiety away or something like that? Or why do you think you work so hard?
It's definitely it's like comics is very transportative. There's the anxiety, like, you get lost in the comics and everything melts away and it's very beautiful. And, but also it's like, it's Netflix, like as a cartoonist, you're competing with Netflix and all this free content. So you can't fuck around and like, here's my new book. I'll see you in 3 years. People enjoy the book. They're not going to wait around. They're going to be dead in 3 years. They're not going to be around for the next book. You got to keep this shit fucking coming.
Yeah.
It's like The Simpsons. Simpsons was on every fucking week. It was on every week. You could count on it.
Yeah. But if you would work, you work like sometimes like 16 hours a day or so.
Yeah.
That seems a little bit. I've been doing that too. Like, I know how it feels, and I see the anxiety aspect of it, and like the get the work done aspect of it. But sometimes if you like feel bad, you destroy your relationships and stuff by working too much. Sometimes you can ask yourself, why do I do this?
It's like being a drug addict. It's like being a crackhead. It's terrible.
It's addiction. Yeah.
Yeah, it's chasing that high of getting something done, of like finishing a project. You set yourself a goal and you just want to get it done. It's always about just finishing it, and then you're done. Like, I always say I'll take a break, but then I just instantly start doing another project. So just always chasing that high.
So have you like replaced other drug addicts with, or have you ever been addicted to any drug, like normal drug, not workaholism?
I've had my dalliances throughout the years with all sorts of substances, catnip,
Catnip? No.
Yeah,
That's
catnip. Oh, man. You ain't been on the catnip. Mixed catnip with a bit of DMT. Oh, crazy. Take you to Kitty Cat Town. Yeah. Well, I've had medallions throughout the years, but I'm pretty, solid these days. I'm just a workaholic. I'm off the Red Bull. I was addicted to Red Bull for many years, but I just drink espressos now. I'm onto the coffee.
Okay.
So
it's the same active substance.
Exactly.
It's caffeine.
And it feels a bit classier. So I'm onto the coffee now. My wife's very happy about that. She didn't like the Red Bulls.
It's too much sugar, right? If you didn't do the sugar-free Red Bull.
Yeah, no, I was doing full sugar.
Okay. Yeah.
Peach flavor predominantly.
Peach flavor. I don't think you can get that in Sweden. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of regional variations.
But the characters in your comics drinks a lot of Monster.
Yeah, a little bit of Monster with their cereal predominantly.
Yeah.
Well, I'll do a bit of Monster.
You do that too?
Sometimes. My friend Robin McConnell and we do a podcast about energy drinks.
You still do that? The podcast?
We only did 3 episodes. We just did a 4th episode like a couple of weeks ago. We've not released it yet. We like to record them and then release them in the future when they're not relevant.
What's the name of the pod? Where can you find it?
It's called Drink Studs. Ink Studs is the podcast of Robin McConnell about cartoonists, hence the title Ink Studs.
I've been into
Drink Studs offshoot.
Okay.
Anyway, Red Bulls. People always bring me Red Bulls at signings. I go to a festival, I'm signing books. People bring me Red Bulls. Don't. When COVID relaxes, bring me an espresso.
Yeah. So you're doing the COVID comic until the pandemic is over, or what are your plans?
Well, I mean, I just read a news story that the COVID's like the World Health Organization says that this might not end. I mean, there's a lot of rumors out there and a lot of shit going on, but it's not ending anytime soon. It's not ending next week. So, I've got my ideas sheet here. I've got a bunch of like things planned out that I could do. These shuffle around. These are, I take them and I move them around.
For the COVID comic, or is it like different projects?
Just for the COVID comic, I've got this note. I've got just for the COVID comic. I think of an idea in the shower. I'm doing a poo. Oh, that's a good idea. I write it down. So I could conceivably keep doing the COVID comic for another like 2 months.
Okay,
and maybe I feel like I have to
on the way. Yeah,
I feel like I have to, Simon, because I get all these messages like. I mean, my Instagram was doing okay before this, but now it's like 40 to 50,000 people a day are looking at the comic. Like I look at the analytics. Yeah. It's like, I feel like I'll get death threats if I stop. People who are like, there's so many messages like, oh, this is getting me through quarantine. This is the highlight of my day. Yeah. If I'm late with the comic, if I'm like a bit hungover and it's like, oh, I can't be fucked today. People are messaging me saying, where's the fucking comic, you bastard?
Yeah,
and there's people fighting in the comments. There's like political like extremes fighting, and like it's becoming this whole like community. Hopefully not a toxic community, but it's getting weird. I feel like I can't stop. I have to keep doing this. Everything else is just evaporated away, and it's just my main focus. And it's keeping me sane. I wake up every day and I have to do this comic. Okay. And when I finish the comic, I can watch TV or eat food or bathe or do something else. But yeah, that's what I do every day.
Normal life, then?
Well, it's not that different to normal life, except I am taking more breaks because before, like you said, with the 4,000 hours for the other book, I wasn't taking breaks. But now I actually am trying to like work in the day, and at night I just do stuff. I stare at the walls. allow myself to think about something else.
Yeah, but
Yes.
you kept your relationship with your wife together through this book.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
my wife works for Fantagraphics. She's the
yeah,
publicist at Fantagraphics Books. So, I mean, whenever she'd complain and say, I want to go to dinner or I want to do something that isn't watching you draw at the living room table,
yeah.
I'd say, hey, this book's being published by your publisher. You need this book. And she'd be like, oh, no. And she couldn't do anything. So,
Did you meet through Fantagraphics?
yeah, we met through comics. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the book, yeah. It was the whole story. I did a comic about it, which was nominated for an Eisner Award, actually.
Was it a Megan Mogg comic?
No, it was just a comic about meeting my wife, and it was nominated for an Eisner Award. It's like the Oscars of American comics. I lost to Batman. Batman.
Oh, where can you read that comic?
There's a Fantagraphics big We Told You So. It's called a big thick history of Fantagraphics, the publisher, 40 years in the business. It's
okay.
The book itself was not nominated for any prizes, but my comic in the book was.
Cool. But is that the only like autobiographical comic you've done without like it's like your name in it and your character as yourself? Or did you do a lot of comics like that, like autobio stuff, like Joe Matt type of autobio?
Yeah, I mean, recently, I've just done Megan Mogg for the last decade.
Yeah.
It's very rare I do anything different. But yeah, as a teenager, I did a lot of Joe Matt type masturbating comics. Yeah. It's all about me masturbating everywhere. Oh, I've masturbated again. Oh no, where am I going to jizz? You got to, oh shit.
You published that in zines or?
Pardon?
Was that published in zines or in mini comics or something like that?
Yeah, just self-published stuff when I was a teenager. Very low print runs. Megan Mogg's autobiographical in a way, but it's do a lot of extra writing as well. But I think most writers take inspiration from their own life.
Yeah, everyone does, I think.
Yeah, people, I think they're liars. If they, I believe George R.R. Martin is some sort of time traveler. I don't know how people can make that shit up. I think it's tapping into past lives or something. Yeah. Parallel universes.
Do you believe in that stuff? Like, are you like a spiritual person? Do you believe in like stuff like parallel universes and stuff like that?
Yeah, probably. I've seen a ghost, when I was a child, so it's unreliable. But I saw a ghost once. I've seen a UFO twice.
Yeah,
that was very interesting. Like a month ago, the Pentagon said that these did you see the UFO videos? Like Tom DeLonge from Blink-182 published these UFO videos.
Missed it.
No, the Pentagon put it out. I guess they were trying to divert from COVID, but it was like, yeah, these alien UFO videos are real. Like, kind of just saying, like, it's like the government saying UFOs are real, but everyone just kind of like, okay, like we're all fucked from COVID, so we were just like, yeah, aliens are real, cool. It's the last 2 months, like 2020 has just been like fucking mental.
Yeah,
it's going, great material.
Yeah, I was thinking about the COVID comic, and All is back too. That's a parallel universe thing too, right? Because he left in Meg's Coven in the beginning. No, not Meg's Coven, in the Bad Gateway he left in the beginning.
Yes, at the end of Megahex, and I don't know what it's called in Sweden, or Liviter, and what is it?
Life's a party in English. Livet är en jävla fest.
Anyway. I just bought Al back. Werewolf Jones is still alive. Just put them together. There's a complicated chronology and a continuity to Megan Mogg. It's so out of order for like so many stupid reasons. Mostly money and like the deaths of friends and just things that put me off path. But
so you lost track of the timeline?
Well, like it's like how do you pronounce it? Bad Gateway in Swedish, Inkensporten.
Inkörsporten, yeah.
Inkörsporten, of course, yes, Inkörsporten. Like, that book is technically set in 2014. Like,
okay. Yeah.
it follows directly on from the book from 2014. The other books were just like expansion campaigns, like with a video game you have an expansion campaign.
Okay. Yeah.
I get so many messages from confused people saying, which book do I buy first? Like, what the fuck are you doing, you fucking idiot? And I'm like, oh, I don't know, I'm tired, please leave me alone. Like, it's like whenever I put up an advertisement like, hey, the book is available, you can get it now at bookstores like Amazon or the publisher. Go for it. And then suddenly all these messages like, is it available in Portugal at my corner bookstore? And just like, does Amazon ship to, Siberia? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, what do you expect me to call up the bookstore? Like, hello, Portuguese corner bookstore. Sarah is looking for a copy of my book. Hello, Jeff Bezos. It's me, Simon Hanselmann, tiny comics idiot. Will you ship my book to Siberia? It's ridiculous. It's like people have forgotten how to use Google. It's like I feel like I'm good at using Google. Like you can search things with it. You know Google, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can look things up. You see something you're interested in, and then you look it up on Google. But anyway, it works for me. But
they probably do it if you just don't answer or something. But that's the downside with having connection with your fans. Like they'll see you as their friend and they'll ask you stupid stuff. But I think you'll win from it too. Like
I send people, confused messages as well. How do I buy your book? I do it as well. It's not so bad.
No,
it's a nice problem to have lots of lots of dumb people messaging you with stupid questions.
But like Ole's personality, I think. Have you noticed yourself that it changed a little bit in the COVID comic? He's more cocky and doesn't take that much shit anymore.
Yeah, it's the end of the world.
Okay.
He's just like, fuck it, And he's the most together of the group. Of course, he's going to come into his own and try and run this shit.
Yeah, he started pulling a knife.
Yeah, the talking knife. Yeah, that's been quite a hit. People keep talking about Al's talking knife. And when I did that, I thought it was a bad joke. I was like, oh, talking knife. Like, it sounds like I'm saying talking knife as in a knife that talks.
Yeah.
But I don't know, but people keep mentioning
like a language, knife. Like talking knife.
Yeah, like, I'm a knife. But anyway, people love the talking knife. All these accidents, whenever I think a comic is going to go down really badly, like, oh my God, this is shit, people love it. And whenever I think it's really good, people don't like it. So,
okay.
I need to not trust my instincts.
But don't you like the COVID comic? People seems to like that.
I like bits of it, but, I self-flagellate. Like, I really beat myself up. I hate myself. I hate my work. It's terrible.
All the time?
Sometimes, like, I got a copy of my new book, my new American, like, big, thick phone book of all my zines, like a new collection with, like, a plastic cover. And I love it. I love looking at it. It makes me really happy. The design of the book that I did, like, I love it. It really fills my heart with joy. But yeah, usually I'm like,
Sticks and Stems or something like that, right? Is it that the book they call Sticks and Stems or something like that?
Yeah, Seeds and Stems. Yeah, I think it's going to come out in a few other languages. It's just all the rare stuff, all the zines.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually my work, I'm very critical, and which I think is healthy. I think you have to, you don't want to be arrogant and think like, yeah, this is working, like this is great. That's not good.
I think like you develop more if you criticize your own stuff. But we mentioned Chris Ware before. He's a lot like that, like hating everything he does and hating himself. And
yeah, he's a bit dour. I've had dinner with him before, and it's like, cheer up, Chris, just smile a little bit. I feel like some leering man on the street, like, hey, honey, cheer up, just smile a little bit. Like, come on.
But that book with a collection of the rare stuff, I borrowed some of the mini comics that you made, and I bought some too. I bought, Fredrik Jonsson, our Swedish publisher, the publisher stuff in Livestream
Forlag.
Forlag?
Förlag. Lystring.
Lystring förlag. Ah, okay.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Swedish is tough. Like,
Yeah.
it's worse than French. It's difficult.
Yeah. But he lent me some of the controversial mini comics. He said that you're not putting everything in the collection. Like some stuff was too controversial.
Yeah. You're talking about the Truth Zone stuff, which is it's like the COVID universe. There's the Truth Zone universe where Meg and Mog make comics and are artists, and they interact with the scene.
So they're not artists all the time, like in every universe.
No, they're a bunch of bums.
They go to like comic festivals and stuff sometimes in the.
Did. They did in the once. Yeah, but that was like that. I mean, to me, that was like a money-making scam. But yeah, anyway, the Truth Zone stuff is not in Seeds and Stems. I was going to put it in, but mixing that sort of like, you know, artist universe, Megan Mogg, with regular universe, it didn't feel right. So I cut it. I cut it all out, most of it. Yeah.
Well, was it because of that, or was it because people got too angry when you got after a certain cartoonist, like you? Well, like some disses in the mini comics.
I mean, I don't really give a fuck. Like, I was going to publish a collection of that work, but then I decided not to, mostly because the publisher went under, and the publisher was going to do the book, a small publisher. They just kind of like fucked everything up, and it's like, no, I'm not letting you do this book, you fucking idiots. But anyway, that's a long
story. What publisher was that?
I'm not going to say. You can. I mean, it's easily Googleable for anyone who wants to like look into it. You could fucking Google it in seconds. But yeah, I mean, I don't really. People misinterpreted the work. I think it was comics about Robert Crumb and stuff. It was like comics just about things like Robert Crumb and controversial cartoonists and just sort of like different aspects of these topics and kind of a satirical spoof. Like an SNL skit about this stuff. And some people really enjoyed it, and some people was like, "Oh, I'm offended." It's like, fine. Like the COVID comics are not pulling any punches. Like I've been doing some weird shit. There's been sexual assault. I'm talking about trans children. Like, I don't give a shit as well, because the world is falling apart. I don't give a fuck anymore. Like, I'm going to write about what the fuck I want to write about and explore topics as an artist. I may fail, I may succeed, but I'm not going to, I don't believe in that whole self-censorship, fucking worrying about everything bullshit. I'm a liberal, left-leaning person who wants equality and everything, but people are going to get offended. Nature is fucking cruel and brutal. We're a bunch of fucking talking monkeys. Fuck it.
You're not a like sensitive person that get affected by comments, like cruel comments on the internet and stuff.
No, I get death threats. I get, I'm surprised actually. I would expect more criticism, but I don't. I see other cartoonists who have smaller followings getting, roasted and just like torn apart by trolls. But I don't seem to get that. A bit recently, I get some people sort of saying negative things on my Instagram feed, but I don't care. The best thing to do is look at their profile, and it's a bunch of selfies, ugly selfies, and pictures of some cats and some like shit food they've eaten. And it's like, well, you're not doing anything with your life. Like, fuck you.
But if you click on their profile and look them up, obviously you're a bit, you care a little bit.
Well, sometimes like, it's an acerbic comment, or if it's clever, you want to know who it is. Sometimes like, oh, that's a good insult. Who is this? But then, they'll invalidate themselves by just like, oh, come on. Like, like someone the other day commented like, the COVID comic was not funny. They implied that it was not funny for the previous weeks. You've thrown quality out the window, and just, they don't like it. That's fine. Like, they're not enjoying it. I'm enjoying it, and I'm doing it for free every day. It's like, it just amused me that someone would complain about something that's free and that they don't have to follow. So I did look at their profile, and they looked like a massive loser. So, so I was like, well, I don't need to feel bad about this. And like, I feel fine about myself. yeah, I don't know. You just, don't buy into that shit. If you don't buy into the criticism, and it's good to take on valid criticism and stuff, and like, try to better yourself and be a better person. But when it's just some fuckhead troll, who cares?
Yeah, but the COVID comic is funny, and it seems like you're going more after comedy in that one than in like a Bad Gateway and the
Well,
dark
yeah,
stuff.
Bad Gateway was boring. See, that's the thing. Like a lot of fans were saying, like, it's tired, it's boring, it's just teasing Al, it's dildo jokes, it's the same bullshit. Why is it going to advance? So and me as well. It's like I need to advance it. This is always the plan, to make Megan Mogg more Requiem for a Dream than Harold and Kumar, more serious. But maybe it was just a bit boring. Like I'm enjoying the COVID comic more. I'm supposed to be working on the next depressing book in the series, but I just don't want to right now. I'm enjoying just trying to be funny and, a bit of drama as well, but just trying to fucking amuse people. It feels like the whole world's at war, and what we need is just like bullshit, dildo jokes. So, that's what I'm trying to do.
It's a little bit drama in the COVID comic too, with the pregnancy, Meg's pregnancy and stuff like that.
Of course, and her drug-addicted mother, and just, Werewolf Jones is murdered. 38 people. Whether you think he has or not, he had a part in it. That felt a bit weird. I was like, he's killed 38 people. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, this is
But it
stupid.
wasn't on purpose.
Well, it's debatable. That's the thing. Did he or did he not? It may come into play later. I have all these notes. I have a rough plan. Anyway. But yeah, it's enjoyable to do a comic every day and try to build this world and like web comics. People have been doing this shit for years, like daily comics. Let's I'm just doing Garfield basically. I don't want to get a big head about this. I'm just doing fucking Garfield. It's just some bullshit daily comic. Yeah.
So I read somewhere that you got a lot of TV and movie rights questions.
Oh yeah.
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 Anywhere?
All over the place. I'm dealing with that shit right now. There's always that shit happening. It's kind of fucked. The TV stuff's just stressful. I love comics so much. Like, it's full autonomy. Like, it's full control. You do it.
Yeah.
I love making zines. I like working with small publishers like Lee String.
Yeah.
And, yeah, the TV stuff's weird. I've talked to so many networks, and like the show's almost gotten off the ground, and there's all like celebrities.
Animated or?
Yeah, animated. There was going to be a live action thing at one point, and currently I'm doing something with someone, and it's kind of like getting along and kind of pretty far.
Okay.
It's kind of scaring the shit out of me. Yeah, it's kind of it's hard to wrestle.
But it's Megan Mogg stuff.
Yeah, it's just a Megan Mogg TV show. It's going to happen. It's just they've been asking me for like 6 years. A lot of companies just like lost their funding and like corporate bullshit and like
you have to settle with a children books named Megan Mogg to make it happen.
I always bring that up, and I'm like, you are aware there's these children's books.
Yeah, I read it in the Comics Journal.
Yeah, they don't seem to care. I don't know. It's different. It's all visually different, and there's extra G's on the characters. Yeah, for listeners that aren't aware, like there is a Meg and Mogg children's book series from the 70s.
That you were inspired by?
A little bit, yeah. I was drawing all these witches, and I was like, I'm going to do a witch and cat sitcom kind of stoner comedy. What will I call them? I was like, Megan Mogg. Yeah. I was like, that's funny. I'll call them Megan Mogg, like those kids' books I used to love. And then, I didn't imagine that it would take off. And then, 10 years later, I'd be talking to all these Hollywood bastards, and but the books would be, people would give a shit about them. Maybe I would have called them something different.
Yeah, maybe you have to pay them a lot of money. Like it was one illustrator and one author of the
Helen Nickel passed away sadly, I think in 2014, 15, and Jan Pienkowski is the illustrator, Polish guy. He's great. I love his work. I met someone at Comic Arts Brooklyn who purported to be Jan Pienkowski's grandchild.
Okay.
They told me that Jan was aware of my
Okay.
Meg and Mog and
Yeah.
was cool with it. But
Okay.
I think this young person may have been high and lying to me.
Maybe.
I get a little weirdos at these signings, a lot of psychics. People are crying sometimes.
Yeah, I read something about a psychic coming up to you at a signing,
Yeah.
but I didn't fully understand that story. It was someone who came with a prediction of something, or
Yeah, it was at San Diego Comic Con. It was regarding a friend of mine that passed away. I was in a band for many years, and my friend had passed away the previous year. And I kept the band going with him on an iPod. He'd be singing, and I'd sing along, and we'd play. It's like the band was still going. And this psychic came up to me and said,
How did you know it was a psychic?
well, she said, I'm a psychic, and
Okay.
your friend Carl does not like being trapped in the iPod. And I was like, what the fuck? See, I'm assuming I talked about this in an interview, and there was no way she could know my friend's name, and like,
She can been to a gig, maybe.
yeah, maybe. I mean,
Heard
look,
about it from a friend, like who has been to a gig.
she just didn't seem like a legit psychic. She also said a bunch of other stuff. I started to get offended. It's like, well, this seems bogus, and you're actually talking about friends of mine who passed away last year. 2 friends she was talking about who died. So I was like, this is a bit tasteless.
Yeah.
Because I actually don't think you're a real psychic. What the fuck are you doing? And then she started saying a bunch of bullshit that was just like completely wrong. So I was like, well, this is just. But she was buying $80 worth of merchandise from me. So I kept smiling and like, oh, what interesting. Like, oh, really? Like, and then I got the money and like, okay.
You were leading her on.
Oh my God! Like I was, she was a nice lady, but it was a bit, it was a bit traumatic. She was, talking about some hardcore shit.
But do you believe there are real psychics?
Not really. Psychics is one of those ones where I'm like, oh, I don't know. Like, I've seen too many documentaries about like the fake magicians that they pick some keywords and it's a scam. I mean, it seems like a parlor trick kind of scam thing to me. I don't want to discredit an entire thing. I mean, maybe I believe in a lot of weird supernatural stuff, that I think, yeah, why not?
For example, what crazy supernatural stuff do you believe in?
Just UFOs and ghosts and shit like that.
Yeah.
Maybe there are real psychics and kinetic energy and like psychic energy, but I think that most psychics are bullshit and they're just like, pretending. But maybe some of them are real.
Like there's one real Santa Claus and there's a lot of fakes in the supermarkets and stuff.
Of course, yes. Obviously, I still believe in Santa Claus. Or jolly old Saint Nick. Yeah, I love him. Good guy.
What type of comics do you read nowadays?
I mean, I buy a lot of stuff. I used to pick it up at festivals, and then it'd sit in piles. I was talking to a cartoonist friend, Sami Alwani, the other day. It's like, what have you been reading? And he listed off all this stuff. And I sort of felt like he was trying to impress me. And I was like, I literally got drunk and I looked at some old Garo magazines, the old Japanese.
Yeah, I love them. King Terry, the illustrator.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's all. I mean, I in the last like several months, I got drunk and I looked at some Garos once.
You can't read the Japanese.
No, I just got drunk and looked at them. I'm staring at this shit all day. I mean, I read my own comics all fucking day. So then I'm like, I don't want to read any fucking comics.
Nah.
So I just play video games or hang out with my wife. Watched a bit of Doctor Who the other night.
Okay,
I like cooking shows. Been watching some cooking shows. Yeah, but I still, I check out a few comics. I like Olivia Shrowen. I got his new book. I want to look at that. I really like Nathan Cowdery. He's a young British dickhead. He's great. Yeah.
What kind of comics?
Anna Highfish, the German. That's what everyone calls her. Anna Highfish, the German. She's good.
Highfish with the German.
Yeah, Highfish. German for shark. Yeah. Yeah, she's good.
Have you read Dokudamu Tenement, the Japanese slacker comic from the 80s?
I don't think so. No.
It's a little bit like Meg and Mog from the 80s by a Japanese cartoonist, published by a Black Hook Press. I just read the first volume.
They were going to do Meg and Mog in Japan, Black Hook, but then I said I didn't want to go to Japan because I was busy. I was working on Bad Gateway and I was trying to finish it. And they said, come to Japan for 2 weeks. And I was like, I can't go for 2 weeks. I've got deadlines. And they said, we're not going to do the book then. I was like, oh, fuck, all right.
Have you been to Japan?
No, I haven't. I really wanted to go, but, another time. Oh, speaking of cartoonists and comics I like, Moa Romanova, the Swede.
Oh,
she's very good. A Goblin Girl. Love that book.
Yeah.
She did a quote on my first Swedish book.
Actually, we did a podcast, me and her, talking about your comics.
Oh, they're nice.
Like an episode of my pod was like Moa Romanova about Simon Hanselmann.
Nice.
Talked about you for an hour.
I find her Instagram very perplexing because it's always her lying around in bed looking depressed with a bunch of thin dogs. And there's all this Swedish text and I'm like, is Moa okay? Is she saying funny things and it's all jokes? Or it could be really depressing stuff about crippling depression and being in bed with a bunch of thin dogs.
Yeah.
But then the shit kid girls will turn up with their lack of eyebrows. And, Sarah Klang, the singer, she'll turn up occasionally. It's just like the comics. But it's entertaining stuff. It's good stuff. Yeah.
Are you depressed nowadays sometimes, or do you feel great?
A little bit. No, I've been a bit depressed recently, a bit anxious. Like, it's the coronavirus. And my mother is very troubling. I mean, I've been writing about my mother or Meg's mother in the COVID comic, which is not too far from the actual truth in real life. So that's been a bit stressful. But, mostly I'm up. I mean, I wake up, have my coffee, I write my stupid comics, I draw this shit, and then in the night, I hang about. I sold a few zines before the COVID hit, so I made a bit of money. I sort of knew this was coming.
Yeah.
So I worked my ass off and I sold a bunch of zines. So, my rent's paid up for the, little next bit of time. So, I need to start making money soon. But, I'm okay. So I can just make this COVID comic and just provide this public service of this free shit every day. Yeah, ups and downs, but mostly I'm pretty happy. I get to just do what I want every day, basically. This is the dream. This is what I wanted when I was a teenager. I do whatever I want every day. I don't have to answer to anyone.
No.
I've been turning a lot of stuff down recently to say, like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, no. Like, I'm just doing what I want to do. I'm doing this little webcomic every day, and that's it's all just for me. I'm just doing what I want to do. And, so I can't complain. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Have your mother read the Bad Gateway yet?
No. I didn't even send her the previous book before that. That had one comic about her in it. And I was like, oh, no.
But she's heard about it, right?
But she's not mentioned it for a long time. She's been doing a lot of drugs recently. She doesn't have time. She's not got time to think about it. Like, she doesn't care what's going on with the comics. Like, she don't give a fuck.
Talk about her a lot. Do you talk to her on the phone a lot?
Yeah, usually. Not for the past few weeks because I got mad at her about something she did. It's like having a daughter, it's like having a crazy tearaway drug addict daughter. And I'm like, oh, what are you doing? Come on. That's not how fuck. Especially with a global pandemic. It's like, don't have crackheads over at your house doing crack in a global pandemic. What are you doing? It's not cool. So she's not social distancing. I'm very worried about it because she's not doing proper social distancing. You got to have a laugh about it. But no, she's not. She's not read the comics for a while, and I'm happy about that. Yeah. She actually does her phone now. She's only just very recently is able. She could Google me, and I'm terrified she'll Google me or look at the Instagram and see the comics I've done about her with her legs and.
And is your grandma still alive?
Yeah, she is. She's in a home.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't talked to her for a while. She scared the shit out of me last time I talked to her. she has very bad schizophrenia. So I mean, she did a number on me. Said some weird shit. So I just, yeah, I feel guilty about it. I'm not brave enough to call her like, "Hey, Gran, how you doing at the depressing old folks home? Why don't you tell me about the ghost that sodomized you in the kitchen last night?" And just in the end, she was wearing like 7 pairs of sunglasses and like wristwatches all up both arms. Like, just it was getting real fucking weird. Yeah, no, it does haunt me. These family members that you just try to put in the back of your mind. Like I got a nice wife. I got I live in a house with a roof and I have food. And, it's just, you try and forget about these crazy fucking people. But it's rough.
Yeah, but it gets funny. It's dark though, but as you said, it's like you're distancing yourself with it by doing a sitcom about your.
It's just the absurdity of modern existence. It's Candide, it's Voltaire. It's just it's the absurdity of just experience.
What sitcoms are you inspired by? Because you mentioned a lot of times that the Meghan Markle is a sitcom.
Yeah, I mean, obviously like The Simpsons and like Seinfeld. Simpsons when it was good in the 90s. I like shit like How I Met Your Mother and stuff. Like I actually really do like How I Met Your Mother. I really like Superstore. That's like a contemporary, like NBC sitcom. It's in like a Kmart type Target big box store. It's pretty good. It's a shitcom. It's for mainstream people, but it's good. It's and it's really diverse as well. It's got a really diverse cast without being a dick about it. It's not being like weird diverse. It's like just diverse, and it's really good. It's a great show. Yeah, no, I watch a lot of bad TV. I love my cooking shows, my Top Chef, Master Chef, Cutthroat Kitchen. I'll watch Guy Fieri's garden or grocery games or whatever. Like, I love them all.
What stuff do you eat yourself? It's not that much food. It was a bit Chinese food in the COVID comic. Are you into like Asian food or?
Yeah. I like my dumplings and like Japanese, like Korean a lot. I like a good bibimbap, like a stone pot rice bowl, meat and vegetables. The COVID comic was just making a funny joke about just people. Anyway, just performatively going out to eat Asian food. Like, we're not racist. We're eating Chinese food. It's like, good for you. Like, whatever. Like, yeah, found that amusing. But, I like Italian food. I like a lot of different food. I got my favorite restaurants locally and stuff, and a lot of them are shutting down now. Unfortunately, it's a bit rough for the restaurants. But a lot of them are doing pickup. A lot of the local restaurants, we're supporting them. Like we go and pick it up at the door in our mask and like, give me the food. We paid online. So we're trying to there's a lot of just restaurants we love. I went to Italy last year, which I feel like I was lucky because I'm not traveling anytime soon. Like I'm not leaving the house. But
go to the Crack Festival.
Yeah, in Italy, no, it was just random shit, just shop appearances.
Okay.
But I took a break as well. My wife and I just went and stayed at a winery, and we just ate good food. It was just we had a lot of good cacio e pepe, and we were near the Parthenon, this famous Italian restaurant. And my wife, a tear rolled down her eye when she ate this pasta. It was so good. It really was just the best pasta. A single tear. Rolled down her cheek. I also like McDonald's. Yesterday I got some Uber Eats Subway. I got foot long.
Okay, you prefer McDonald's in front of the fancier like Shake Shack and stuff like that?
Yeah, I like a bit of Donny's, but I like it all. I mean, my point is, I like the high and the low.
Yeah.
Same with art. I like lowbrow, fucked up shit, and I like highfalutin, fancy, contemporary art. You gotta have a bit of everything.
Is it true that you can't read Chris Ware's comics?
No, I love Chris Ware's work. That's just a joke I make. I worry that Chris will see that. Whenever that's in an interview, my wife is like, why would you say that? He might read that. Like, him. It's like, oh, fuck, yeah, I know. But he can take it. Maybe he can't take it. He does get a bit depressed sometimes. And but yeah, fuck. I mean, his comics are hard to read sometimes.
Yeah.
It's just me making a point about my comics being like so straightforward. I don't deviate. I like it to be just fucking readable. So, you know, when you're fucking about with all the panels and it's all like tiny and then big and it's over here and there's an arrow pointing up and it's like, oh, fuck off. Like, no, that's fine. But
Yeah, I prefer like the Joe Matt or your stuff. Like you just read the story, but it's beautiful to look at Chris Ware stuff. I love it as like visual art.
You keep bringing up Joe Matt.
Yeah, I love Joe Matt. And since I've read that you love him too, I wanted to talk about it.
No one knows who he is, though. No one's going to be like, oh, Joe Matt. Like, oh, that masturbator from the 90s.
People who look at this probably, I don't know. I did a podcast episode about Joe Matt too, so maybe people listen to that and know a bit. I've seen pictures with you together. You met him.
I finally got to meet him. I'd hung out with Chester Brown and Seth.
Yeah.
Well, I've gotten drunk with Seth, but Chester I've just met. But I always wanted to meet Joe Matt. I wanted to meet the three amigos, like, you know, it's the classic trio.
Toronto trio.
Yeah. And I finally met Joe, and yeah, we went out to dinner, and he didn't want to pay, and he didn't order anything, but then he ate all of our food. Like he kept. It was like having dinner with Homer Simpson. It was like hanging out with a cartoon character. It was, yeah. We went around looking in the rubbish for like lottery tickets because I'd heard for years that he has this scam where he digs lottery tickets out of the trash at like 7-Elevens, and you send the tickets in, and you have a 1 in 1,000 chance of like winning, you know, a second chance sweepstakes.
Okay.
But he collects so many of these tickets from the trash that he makes money off of it. And it was all true. We actually went around looking in dumpsters, and like, he was like, oh, don't dig in the trash, like that's garbage. But then he'd grab like an egg carton and start digging through the trash with it. But he ran the numbers, like it made sense. Like he went through all the numbers and all the math on this thing, and it's lucrative. Like it's, you know, you make money from it. But yeah, it was a really magical evening. I think he's mad at me. I said I'd send him some books, and we kept corresponding for a bit. And he was like, make sure you sign the books. I want all of your books signed. And I was like, you're going to sell them on eBay. Like, I know what you're doing. But I didn't send him the books. I got sidetracked and stuff, and then COVID hit. And, but yeah, I feel like he's mad at me or something.
No, I don't think so.
I hope not. No, he's a lovely guy, but I do owe him some books. I mean, I owe him some fucking books. But yeah, lovely guy. I think it was coming out. I think
it was coming out.
He's working on stuff. I mean, he's posted about it on Instagram, but yeah.
Yeah. But I met him like 10 years ago.
Oh, nice.
And then he said that he had made 12 pages of his new comics by then. And I followed him too. I think maybe he'd done 12 more or so. So
yeah, when we had dinner and we hung out going through the trash, he was on day 40 of a masturbation cleanse. He'd not masturbated for 40 days, so he's toning down the masturbating and doing a bit more work.
It's like George in Seinfeld when he stopped masturbating.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, that's a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
So, with the COVID, I don't know how he's doing. I mean, he's probably back to wanking. I mean, let's face it, he always backslides. I mean, there's a high probability that right now he's in LA masturbating at this second as we're talking. Like, you can feel it almost.
Yeah. Is he still your biggest idol in comics, or do you have found others? Or I don't know.
I don't know if I'd say Joe was ever an idol.
I said when you found Peter Bagg and Joe Matt, you said that was it for me. I know that this was the type of comic I wanted to make.
They're still my favorites. It's like Jim Woodring, Dan Clowes, Pete Bagg, Joe Matt, Seth, all those, Julie Desay.
The 90s.
Yeah, I mean that's what I've that's the stuff I really fell in love with. I love my Olivia Shrowens and my Ruppert and Mallows and your Dash Shaws and whatever. But And I like a lot of new shit. I read all that like French shit, like the Lagon, Lagon Review, very posh, giant, fancily printed art comics. I like all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
Try to keep up with it. I think I always like what's new the most, I guess, because it's still happening.
Yeah.
I like things that are full of possibilities. It's like when you listen to an old dead, like, musician's record. It's like there's no more. It's just that body of work. It's not ever going to grow and become something more. But then there's a point in most artists, run where it just gets shit.
Yeah.
It's very rare that an artist just keeps on making good work.
Yeah, that's strange. But as a cartoonist or a writer, you have like a longer shelf life than a musician. It's not a lot of musicians that do so good work after 30 or so, but like
they start looking old, and it's just embarrassing.
Yeah. As a cartoonist, you can draw your iconic character and look the same all the time.
Yeah, you can just hide behind the books, and
yeah.
I wear makeup and stuff, so I look, I'm so wrinkly under all this, but I'm just wearing so much makeup.
Okay. But
I recommend it.
But do you stopped performing as a musician?
No, not really. I did a live set on Instagram a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
And my wife was kind of like, that was embarrassing. I was like, well, you just like, oh, come on, just don't say anything then. Just like, let me enjoy it. I'm not good at music, but I enjoy doing it. But my wife always is embarrassed, so it makes me feel like, oh, maybe I should stop.
No.
Yeah, no, I'm still doing it. There's nowhere to play gigs right now, but if someone tried to book me for a gig tomorrow, I'd turn up and I'd play.
So, how's your friend HTML Flowers?
Oh, rough. His brother, his brother's wife just died 2 days ago.
From the virus?
No, cancer. Cat. Yeah. So really brutal, actually. It's been a really rough couple of days. I'm really worried about him.
Maybe we should tell the audience that your friend is a cartoonist too, and he lives in Australia, right?
Yeah, HTML Flowers, or Grant Jonathan, he goes by. Also, that's his real citizen name. He's from America. He's got cystic fibrosis, a lung illness. He's ill. So he's scared of the coronavirus as well, because if he gets it, he's fucked. He's dead if he gets it. His lungs are fucked. They run like.
It's in total quarantine.
He's in full quarantine. It's been weird for him, I think. He's been doing the quarantine comics as well. Working on his No Visitors series. TV stuff as well. We were talking about TV stuff for his shit and stuff, and talking to people before all the coronavirus hit. And Flowers is all right. He's working. He's alive. He's got his fucking illness, his lungs, and he's chipping away, and he's still alive. God damn it, he's still alive.
Did you say he lives in the US now? Or?
No, he's Melbourne, Australia, but he's from Chicago. Yeah.
Okay, so you did the first. You're in Australia and then moved to the US, and he's. Oh no, no.
We've done it. Yeah, we've done each other. Yeah. Yeah, no, he's getting by. I know his brother Tyler and stuff. Like, I lived with Grant and his mother for many years, and I love Tyler. He's like my brother, so it's just it's hard to be so far away, and worried about the family. But,
you talk on Skype every day with?
Yeah, not every day, but pretty regularly. We drop off and then we're back in, and we both get lost in our projects, and lost in our bullshit. Yeah, no, he's doing all right. Yeah, he's one to watch. He's a young cartoonist to look out for. A young 31-year-old cartoonist. He's younger than me, at least.
Yeah, me too.
But he's been getting published, hasn't he? In the I can't pronounce it. The livestream.
By Livestream förlag, the Grymma Svärdet he's been published in.
That's the one. The Something Sword, is it?
Internationally known. Grymma Svärdet.
Yeah,
the Cruel Sword. It's
Cruel Sword. Yes.
sword. Yeah.
That's what I call it, the cruel sword. Have you read the new Cruel Sword? I can't read it because it's all in Swedish, but it looks all right. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice that he's been getting in there. He's my co-writer sometimes. Like we do the Werewolf Jones stuff together, and
Yeah, I read the Werewolf Jones mini comic where he illustrated some stuff too.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like that. They're like, "Oh, this is shit. What is this?" But I like it. I like his version of Werewolf Jones. And we write them together, and then he draws them, and I draw mine, and it's a collaborative thing. So
yeah.
So when people say they don't like it, I'm like, well, you're offending me as well. Like, fuck you. Yeah. Yeah, he's doing all right.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to ask about other friends I have, but then I'm like, I've only got one friend.
You don't have a lot of friends like that you hang out with? And
Not really. I'm not recruiting friends. I tend to avoid new friendships generally because I'm an obsessive workaholic. And like right now on my Instagram, I've got all these messages. Like, there's the inbox from the public, which is just like a jungle. But then there's just like friends, like real friends, and just like messages piling up. And I was like, oh, Jesus. I lose myself in projects, and I find it difficult to keep up with real life tasks.
So it's mostly
Grant's the only person I bother with. Sorry, what was that?
Mostly your wife and Grant you have contact with, like other people?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's enough, really. I work all day, and then I hang out with my wife at night. Maybe I'll talk to Grant. And then I'm like, oh, that's enough. Like, I don't have time for anyone else. Like, I'm certainly not going on message boards all night, like, that's a lonely person's game to be, all over Facebook, like desperate for approval. Like it's, no, I'm full. I've got enough.
Yeah.
It's impossible for you to ask about any other friends.
Oh,
I stumped you there. Name one other friend I have. You can't do it, can you?
No, I don't think I can. I don't know how you count. I don't know if you count Moa Romanova as a friend. You never met her, right?
No, I've never met her. No, she's a frenemy.
Yeah, she's
competition. I'm trying to outsell her. Her books are terrible. No, seems lovely. Her and her thin dogs.
Yeah. So, comedy-wise, are you like? Do you like other comedians? Do you follow like stand-up comedy or stuff like that?
Yeah, a little bit, but mostly old stuff. Like today, I was watching DVDs, like old Alan Partridge. Alan Partridge, Steve Coogan.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. Was that stand-up or was it a TV series?
It's the TV series, and I was watching the new one that's like a fake morning show, like a contemporary morning show.
Okay.
I mean, Coogan does stand-up as well, and I'll watch the stand. Like I really like Mr. Show, the old HBO series, and I love like the stand-up that Bob Odenkirk does, and most of those people are stand-ups. But, yeah, I love the Larry Sanders Show. A lot of stand-ups on there, but no, I don't really keep up with the art form of stand-up. I'll watch a little bit, but I'm not heavily invested.
You never tried
mostly watch old shit.
You never tried stand-up yourself?
Once.
What?
Terrible.
You did?
Bombed.
In what country?
In Melbourne, Australia.
Okay.
Yeah, a friend of mine, Mark, a good cartoonist, Mark Pearson, he was putting on an event called Talking People at Night.
Yeah.
There's local cartoonists and musicians, and they do stand-up. It was a novelty, like they'd never done it before, and they do the stand-up. And yeah, I bombed real hard. It was really embarrassing.
No laughs at all?
No, they do like dim the lights and get me off stage.
Oh shit!
I'd just gone through a massive breakup like 3 or 4 days earlier.
Yeah.
I was feeling really fucked. I felt like I was really funny in the beer kind of area, the beer garden. I was smoking cigarettes, having beers, and I felt like I was on fire. I was just like chatting with the other people that were performing and making a lot of jokes and like, oh wow, that's funny, and like, amusing myself and others seemingly, unless they're faking it, but I don't think they were. But yeah, on stage, I don't know, it just fell apart. I was trying to improvise. I had a rough, point by point thing of like topics, and I was trying to bring it all together, and it just didn't work. And I think it was a bit dark and a bit obscure and a bit dry and just kind of shit. Yeah. yeah, never again. Really, I really admire stand-up comedians getting that tight five together, and I think I could do it if I put a tight five together and I rehearsed and stuff, like, because
Yeah.
you can't just get up there. You have to.
No, you can't just go up and improvise. I think that's
No.
the biggest mistake you can
Yeah,
do.
you have to be tight and and confident in what you're doing,
Yeah.
and be able to improvise as well. Yeah. I feel like I'm a decent improviser. If I've got something else to do, like playing some shit music or like presenting something, I can riff in around. And in interviews, I find like, I watch a lot of interviews with cartoonists, and they're like, yeah, I don't know. So I just say something, Mrs. Mouse. Like, come on, like, speak up. But, the problem with me is shutting me up and, like, getting me to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
At least I'm putting something out there. But
yeah,
no, I like to watch my old comedy DVDs.
But they mostly old stuff.
Well, yeah, I've found that I'm doing that thing. I'm 38 now, and I guess I'm getting older. I'm not young anymore, or whatever the kids think young is. Still feel pretty young, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, all the stuff I liked from the 90s, and like, when I was a kid in the 80s, that's like the equivalent of stuff from the 70s, like, or the 60s, like, ugh. I guess Monty Python or something like has aged throughout the years, and but anyway, yeah, stuffy old comedy. The kids these days don't give a fuck about Alan Partridge or whatever.
He's Steve Coogan is in the Trip, right? This new
movie. Yeah, I don't mind.
New movie is just a couple of years old, but
yeah, no, they've done a few of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good Steve Coogan stories. He apparently he gave Owen Wilson the cocaine that like fucked him up before he tried to kill himself. And I think Coogan was dating Courtney Love for a while. And,
is it true?
Oh. Just the other day, Grant was telling me some story about some girl he knew living in London, and she was one of like Steve's girls or something, and he was like buying her all this stuff, and then she was just giving away couches. Like, Steve bought me all these couches. But I was like, that sounds like Steve. He's pretty calmed down, but I think he's a bit of a party boy for a while.
He was a party boy. Steve Coogan was a party boy.
Yeah, and it's just funny to think of Alan Partridge being a party boy, doing coke with Owen Wilson. So I think Alan Partridge, like eggs, like him eating eggs, and like just being a sort of disgusting, hideous creature. Yeah, Coogan's got some game.
So are you drawing right now?
No, I can't focus. When I'm on tour, I can't focus and draw in hotel rooms, and on Zooms, I can't. Whenever I talk with Grant, he like calls me like, "Hey, we'll hang out and we'll draw together and chat," and we just end up chatting, and so I can't focus. Yeah, no, I need to like really like get into the zone, and it's like a ritual. Got a bit of writing done in the break. I've got my new note sheet. I'm planning some shit out, writing some dialogue, just kind of workshopping next few days of stuff.
Do all that like you never use a computer for your planning or anything in your work?
No, disgusting. How dare you even insinuate such a thing, Simon? I've never learned. I don't know. I did a series of watercolor classes in Canada last year, and I opened up the class by smashing a Wacom tablet, smash it over my knee.
Expensive prank.
Yeah, I don't value it. You can work. I like the cheapness of working on paper and pens, the accessibility. As a poor kid growing up, I like that it's so consumer based. It's so easy, anyone can do it, and frankly, you can sell your originals. Like, I saw Noah Van Sciver and Eric Reynolds doing a talk on YouTube this morning, and Eric, who's my editor, was saying, like, a tip to young cartoonists: hold on to your artwork, like, because I sold all my stuff off cheap and stuff. I needed to get some flight money, so I sell everything. And yeah, if you do make it in any capacity, you can start to sell your artwork. And if you draw digital, it doesn't exist. It's just floating. It's just trapped on a hard drive. You could print it out, but you can't put it in galleries. Like, it's not. I guess it's an antiquated thing. I like old comics. I like old comedy. I'm old now. I like the old shit that I liked when I liked shit.
Crumb
yeah,
sold
yeah.
original art for like $2 million. I heard like some piece of his
Who did?
artwork. Robert
Who?
Crumb. Crumb.
Oh yeah, I think Crumb did. We sold a sketchbook for $1 million or something.
Yeah.
My old art dealer, Alvin Bonaventura, used to run a lot of big deals and sell to lots of heiresses and executives. And he sold my shit for a while, and I used to run with him when he did the sales. And there's a lot of money exchanging
Yeah.
hands in hotel rooms. And I was kind of like, this is the crazy side of comics. It's like, it's like, just,
But you don't sell original art right now?
Me? What, do I sell
Yeah.
it? Yeah,
Yeah.
I just made some sales actually. I don't really advertise it. I have a gallery in Paris, Gallery Martel, that kind of handles shit for me, and I also do private sales. But yeah, it's not something I advertise.
No.
But through years of doing the gallery circuit, the prices have gotten to a certain level. So when a young fan, says, "Hey, I live in a share house. I'm a punk. I want to get a piece for my partner for Christmas," and I drop this fucking gallery price list on them,
Yeah.
it makes me feel like a cunt.
Are you a collector yourself? Do you collect stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I just got this today. This is nice Jim Woodring piece here.
Yeah.
It was a gift from my wife, actually. She picked that
Oh.
up from Jim. I mean, I know Jim and stuff. I've interviewed him, and we've hung out, and I see him around town. And yeah, and, I've got some nice Shrowan pieces up there hiding somewhere. And what else? Some nice Margot Ferrick pieces. Got a lot of Tommy Parish stuff. Yeah, mostly contemporary stuff, because you can pick it up cheap because the artists are desperate. They're selling that stuff really cheap. So that's where I come in. I swoop in, and I'll resell it later on eBay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you collect other stuff like figurines or anything else?
I used to when I was a kid. Most of the figurines on my shelf are ones I've made myself, just like Meg and Mog figurines, and they're in a museum show I had here last year. I actually, embarrassingly, I play a lot of video games, but I don't really talk about it because I guess I grew up when that was like really dorky and like really nerdy to like Nintendo and stuff. So yeah, it's not something. I mean, I've been grubbing around on Instagram in the stories trying to get Animal Crossing furniture from fans. I figured out if I offer to go to their town and do a drawing in their town, it's this thing you can do, then they'll give me things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was kind of a weird sort of creepy power imbalance thing I was doing there. But it was revealing too much about me that I was heavily invested in this Japanese children's video game to the point that I had to have these certain bits of furniture. It's very
but you can tell from the comic that Meg is playing Animal Crossing in the COVID comic, and I realized that you must be into that yourself then.
I am, and I mean, when I started doing that in the comic, I mean, really, it's just a commentary on like, it just, we're just deluding ourselves and just lost in these digital worlds. Like everything's crumbling around us, and we're all just like, zooming and just, talking about comics and like, antiquated paper products and just like pretending everything's okay. And just, there's so many people playing Animal Crossing. I just think it's so, I'm trying to put all these zeitgeist moments into the comic and just make it this time capsule, really. Like, I want to do the COVID book, and I want it in a way to be like the piece of COVID art. I mean, it's ridiculous because it's full of dildo jokes and Will Jones pulling balloons out of his rectum. But I don't know. I just feel like Hollywood isn't doing anything, and like people are trying to find a way to entertain and make new content. And I don't know. I feel like I'm just doing it, but that's moments where I feel arrogant and like, okay, this is a success, or there's this form of whatever I'm doing. But, I have a lot of time to think in the studio here.
How many hours do you put in on Animal Crossing every day?
Not much these days. It's the first thing I do in the morning. I wake up, I have my cup of coffee, and I play Animal Crossing for probably about 15 minutes, look in the shops, see what's going on, dig up my fossils, and then I get to work. And maybe in the evening I'll play a bit more, but I haven't been really. I got 7 rabbits, I got, spouse in the house, and, we cook and stuff, we have dinner and hang out with the rabbits and do a bunch of shit. So there's not much time really, but, I might throw a bit of Splatoon in or some Mario or something. So, you never know.
What did you play Nintendo as a kid, or was it like Commodore 64, like the old school video games?
Yeah, I didn't have a computer until I was like, to like 10 years ago or something. I never had computers, so no Commodores. But yeah, Atari 2600, Sega Master System, the NES, SNES, Genesis, blah, blah, blah. Never a big PlayStation fan. Never liked Sony or Xbox. Dog shit. I have a PS4, but I don't like it.
It's kind of time consuming to if you're a cartoonist and you do like 16 hours of work every day, it's hard to find time to play video games.
I go through periods. That's my big treat when I take a break. It's like, I'll play video games, but I'll read a book, but then I end up not doing it and just staring at the walls, and I don't know. But yeah, I want to make a Meg and Mog video game. I do enjoy the art form.
You got any offers for making video games?
Yeah, I was the terrible publisher I mentioned earlier that I was going to do the Truth Zone book. They were going to do a video game. They had the guy from Hotline Miami lined up. I didn't know what that was. It's like some phone game, like a top-down shooty kind of game. But he's like a millionaire. He's Swedish, I think. I looked him up and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, if I get royalties from this, like, oh, wow. But that fell through, and then the other person fell through, and it just all fell apart.
Okay.
One day, a virtual reality Meg and Mog experience would be really great.
Yeah.
I'm always thinking of new concepts and new ideas.
You like living in Seattle? Is it a nice city? I've never been there.
It's fine. No, it's really expensive. It's like Amazon, Google, Boeing, Tech Town. I used to think it was all grunge and like, Buddy, Peter Bag, but no, it's overpriced. It's a terrible homeless problem. They're not taxing Amazon and whatever. It's just rains all the time, which is not that bad because I work from home and I'm not allowed to leave the house now. So if it's raining, who cares? Seattle's all right. It's fine. I'd like to move somewhere cheaper. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Did you like London better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you move to the UK?
Oh, the person I was dating at the time, they were studying there. So I moved over there and got a job at a bookstore and various other jobs. It was nice.
And then you moved from the UK to Seattle? Or
back to Melbourne for a while, then to Seattle, yeah. I think we'll be here for a while. I mean, my wife works here. She's built a career here. She's from LA, but...
Okay.
Yeah. And like I said, I work from home, so I could work from anywhere. Really, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But cheaper. It'd be nice to be able to buy a house, but Seattle just ain't like that no more. Ain't no grunge town.
No. Do you live in the inner city here, or there in Seattle?
Sort of suburbs down south. I'm still getting the lay of the land. It takes me a long time to get the geographical things down. We're not just down south somewhere. No, I don't want to live right in the. I don't really like cities. They're a bit full of people.
You didn't like London?
Well, I mean, we lived out of the city there as well. We lived out near a park. We lived next to like a nature reserve full of deer and and it was a bit of a posh area. We lived near David Attenborough and like Mick Jagger was up the road. It was a weird time. Yeah, no, it was interesting. It was all deer, and Pete Townsend from The Who was further up the road. And,
sounds like an expensive area.
It was. I'd previously been living in a garden shed. The garden shed from Meg and Mog, that's the garden shed that I lived in.
Shit.
Yeah. The house in Meg and Mog is H.M.L. Flowers' house. It's his mother's house from like the mid-2000s when we all lived there.
Yeah, I read that in the Comics Journal interview.
I've given all my stories away already.
Maybe the psychic just have read Comics Journal, the psychic we were talking about before, because you told the story about the iPod and your dead friend in that interview. So maybe...
Yeah, no, this was pre-Comics Journal, though, so I don't know where she was getting it. But,
no.
I think I'd done like a Spanish interview and talked about it. So I don't know if she'd like translated the Spanish interview, but I don't know what she was getting over. Maybe she actually was a fucking psychic.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
So I heard you wanted to meet young Lean when going to Sweden.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Yeah. You still listen to his music?
Well, yeah, he's got a new album out on Friday. I'll give it a spin. Yeah, he's an interesting character. Grant got me into it years ago, and I like. Yeah, I respect him as an artist. I like the way he monetizes his shit and runs his empires, and yeah, I don't know. He's an oddball. He's kind of not sold out in a way. He's just doing whatever the fuck he wants, and yeah, it's interesting.
Have you seen him live? Meg and Marg went to a concert in one comic.
Oh fuck, they did. Yeah. Al was not having a bar of that. He wasn't impressed. Yeah, no. Grant and I saw him and Blade, the other dude from Drain Gang, in 2015 or something, I think.
In Australia.
Yeah, it was the day before I left for America. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think I dragged my wife along another time in Seattle in 2017. She had a horrible time. She's not into it at all. She's like, "You're a 38-year-old man. What are you doing listening to this children's music?" See, I started listening to that shit at a time when I was starting to make money from comics and starting to get flown all over the world. Like in 2015, I went to 12 different countries. Like, I was just hungover as fuck, eyes rusted in the back of my mind, like in a cab in Colombia, just like where the fuck am I? And I was in Russia the week before. Like, it was, I didn't want to go through the airports listening to like some folk music, like Nick Drake, like some old man moaning on, or like Willie Nelson. Like, I wanted to listen to like young boys getting turned and like doing designer drugs and buying shoes in airports, and like. Yeah, all that music's about grappling with, fame or whatever and money. And young Lean didn't know what to do with it. He ended up in a mental hospital and stuff, and was fucking died. And so I don't know. He's an interesting character, and it just it was the soundtrack to HTML Flowers and I starting to have art dealers and be flown around the world. And
that was the rock star life you lived in 2015.
Yeah, it was a lot of countries. It was it was professional as well. It was a professional tour. We sold a lot of books and a lot of drinking and very, very exhausting, very surreal. Eating McDonald's in 12 different countries. Yeah.
Was that before you got married?
It was after. My wife and I had to be apart for a year before I could move to the States. So, immigration. I mean, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
We get to visit each other in European countries. My wife and I would meet up at various stops, and she came to Australia, and I couldn't legally go to America. But anyway, it took 13 months to get it. But so that was also a challenge, like having to travel and do all this bullshit while being apart from your spouse, and just stressed about the governments and doing paperwork and visa meetings and green. Anyway, that 2015 was fucking crazy.
But you don't travel a lot these days, or not now with the virus. Do it, but do you like?
I was supposed to. I mean, I didn't travel in 2018, I think, because I was working on Inkensporten or Bad Gateway. In 2019, I got out a bit. I went to France and Italy and Spain, and I was supposed to be in Spain a couple of weeks ago. I was supposed to go to Mallorca, which would have been beautiful. But, I was going to come to Sweden. I was supposed to be doing a residency in Switzerland. Supposed to be going to Ireland. I was supposed to be doing a museum show at Ireland in October. Probably not going to happen. I was supposed to go to Brazil. But I was, to be honest, Sweden, my agent had to she's like, come on. And I was like, I'm just going to have been back from these two other countries and I've got to get work done. I'm like, oh, fuck. But, I got conned into it.
Right.
Like, all right, that does sound good. Like, all right, let's do it. But so I was coming up to some hectic travel. I was getting ready. I was making a zine for the tour and okay, I'm going to go out and travel. And hang out with people. But yeah, no, COVID hit.
Did you like going to festivals? Like in the Mega Mog comics, they hated like hanging out with the Finnish cartoonists and stuff like that.
Oh, the Finland. Well, I don't know if that comic was anything to do with Finland. That's you reading into that. Yeah, I mean, there's good festivals and bad festivals, and even the festival I parodied in that comic you mentioned, like I had a great time at that festival overall. But you know, there were some interesting things that were ripe for parody, and it did piss down rain, and no one came, and we made no money, and it was quite depressing. And you know, I mean, American festivals, like now I can go and lose money. Like, you know, I got to pay to go to Chicago. I go to Cake. I don't sell enough zines. And it's like, I've lost money coming here. But it's the people you hang out with. Like, you know, Chicago's got really good backyard parties. And it's like, well, there's Lolly Westwind and there's Anya Davidson and Lane Milburn and Ivan Brunetti's here. And like, whoa. Oh. So, you know, people just turn up. You get to meet lots of people. You have a great time. But we're a bitch on the road. Like, you know, we've exceeded the meeting time again. We've got a message there. Oh, too much babbling. I just want to shut up. I should go soon, actually.
Yeah, maybe we should wrap it up.
I got to feed my rabbits and, yeah.
You have rabbits?
7 rabbits, yeah.
Oh, shit. Why?
My wife works in rabbit rescue and stuff, and I got involved, and I love the rabbits, and we just still don't judge us. We just have lots of rabbits. They're nice.
Okay. But it was nice talking to you, and hope to meet you soon. And
it's been lovely. Yeah, no, it's nice to meet you. So I'm sorry to cut it off. I thought we just okay, bye. But yeah, anyway, I could talk forever, but about myself, which is creepy. But we didn't even talk about you.
No, it's an interview with you. I talk about myself several hours every day and several podcasts in Sweden. So people know everything about me already.
I'm just like a robot telling the same stories and stuff I've told on several other podcasts recently. It's just, you know, just trotting out the same material.
First time hearing about Joe Matt digging through the trash, though.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's the debut of the particular anecdote. That really was a magical night. Like Joe really, like it was one of the best nights of my life. Actually, like it really was. It was fucking magical. I've been reading Joe Matt since I was like 14, so it really was like a dream come true. Yeah. Felt like a Make-A-Wish child. I want to hang out with a has-been masturbated comics man. New peep show coming soon. I hope. I really hope it does. So
yeah, me too.
It's time for Joe to make a comeback. In the current political climate, the kids are just going to go crazy for Joe.
Yeah,
I think I love him.
I borrowed Mua. Mua borrowed my Joe Matt comics, and she didn't like him. She hated him. But she didn't return him. She's got the coronavirus now.
She does?
I think so. She's been sick for a long time, but she still got all my Joe Matt comics, so I don't know if...
They're tainted now, yeah. You don't want those back. Yeah. Oh, well, fuck, I hope she's all right.
So, let's say our goodbyes. You say your farewell... Now we got the message from our supervisor again. You say your farewells whenever you want. I will not interrupt. But, I need to do some... I'm moving now, so I need to go to my new apartment and meet up.
Well, at least Sweden's just like completely open and doesn't give a shit about the coronavirus, so it should be an easy move.
Yeah.
No one will try and stop you.
No. Back on the free. Home on the break.
Stay safe. Hope you're doing all right. And prayers to Moa.
Yeah. So nice talking to you. And I don't know how to shut this down. I can find the stop button.
I just pulled the cord out of the wall.
Okay.